I was having y'all show about Rico from StreetScores, and apparently there are serious reports, trustworthy sources that are saying that the Washington Commanders are trying to trade former 2023 first-round pick cornerback Emmanuel Forbes. Man, Rivera should be ashamed of himself. But either way, we're going to take a look at top replacement cornerback trade options out there, because after you get rid of Emmanuel Forbes, that is a hole in the roster. Are we looking for an upgrade or just another random guy that's going to be on the back end of the cornerback group? Also, we're going to take a look at some realistic edge rusher options as well, because there is an argument to be made that an improvement at edge rusher and pass rush could help the secondary out even more than an improvement at corner. We're going to dive into all of those options, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinion video just like this one. Like I promised, 2-3 videos a day, man. Ended up being busy today, but I made sure I got this second video out, and I'll probably even do one late tonight / early morning, so be on the lookout for that one. Stay tuned. I'm really excited, man. Make sure y'all are ready to pull up for that upcoming stream against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some people are thinking that game may get flexed. I don't think it will, but stay tuned. Either way, if it's at 1 p.m. or 4 p.m., I will be live streaming all 4 quarters like I typically do. Be on the lookout for videos all week, and I'm working on film sessions that are going to be exclusive to channel members only, so stay tuned. I really appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and dive into this video, though, right now. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so source Jacina Anderson said through Twitter, because again, Twitter is like the new go-to place for like the reporters that are in the in crowd that have actual real trustworthy sources to come out and report things. They may do an article, maybe, but even if they do, they're gonna announce it on Twitter. Twitter is the go-to spot for a lot of these things. So moving on from that random tangent that I just went on, Jacina Anderson went straight to Twitter, just like Adam Schefter, Adrian Wojnarowski used to do, all of those guys. She tweeted, "I'm told that the Commanders have recently assessed potential interest for 2023 first-round cornerback Emmanuel Forbes Jr. on the trade market per sources." And that's just amazing that, this quickly, they've already assessed that this is not the guy. It's even crazier that they even brought him in, like Dan Quinn and Joe Wood Jr., when they were with the Cowboys last year, they brought Emmanuel Forbes in for a top 30 visit, which is limited. That shows significant interest there. And then there was also a report that if we didn't take him 13th overall, the Cowboys, whatever pick they had in the first round, they would have taken him then. But then they ended up, since they missed on Emmanuel Forbes in the first round, they ended up taking DaRon Bland in the 5th round. And now, of course, that seems like a much better idea. At this point, DaRon Bland has played like the 1st round pick, and Emmanuel Forbes has played like the 5th round pick. But either way, it's crazy that Dan Quinn and Joe Wood Jr. had some supposed interest in Emmanuel Forbes when they were with the Cowboys last year. And then they come to the Commanders, and they're like, nah, this is not going to work. Just like how Rivera and Jack Del Rio benched them, they're pretty much benching them here as well. We're going to dive into that, but this is just crazy. He was just a former 1st round pick just a little over a year ago. This guy hasn't even had 2 seasons yet. You can basically say, based on the fact that he got benched and then he got hurt this year, he hasn't even played a full entire rookie season worth of games yet, and they're already trying to trade him. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get lowballed there. We're going to get there for that. But it's just amazing that, like, we didn't take Christian Gonzalez, and look at what he's doing when he's not hurt. He's been playing very well for the Patriots. Or even Deontay Banks. Terry McLaurin just gave him 2 catches for 2 touchdowns and was talking trash to him. But even then, Deontay Banks has been more playable than Emmanuel Forbes. And Deontay Banks got like benched for against the whoever they played the previous week, Monday night, before they played us, due to like not showing enough effort and things like that. But he's still not being put on the trade market like Emmanuel Forbes is right now. So out of the 3 corners that we could have gotten with that 13th overall pick, we still ended up choosing the worst one, even though Christian Gonzalez has been injury prone and Deontay Banks has shown a lack of effort, which caused the Giants to bench him just like 7-8 days ago. But either way, it's crazy that we still ended up picking the worst of the 3. And this also shows you that Adam Peters really hates Ron Rivera draft picks. We are getting rid of these guys one by one. Remember Jamin Davis, Chase Young, like all of these guys one by one. Well, we did like a complete purge in the offseason, first of all. Like as soon as Adam Peters got here, Dan Quinn got here, soon as we could. We got rid of a lot of those guys. And we're talking about starters too, not even just draft picks, like Nick Gates at center and Logan Thomas at tight end and Charles Leno at left tackle. Like, just all up and down the roster, completely clean slate, including first round draft picks, former first round draft picks. I don't believe any Rivera first round draft pick is still here at this point, which is insane. I mean, shouts out to Quan Martin, second round pick, being a really good starter for us. And that was somebody that I mocked to us before the draft even happened. So I'm happy y'all got that one right. But Ricky Strongberg, Braden Daniels, KJ Henry, Andre Jones, and hey, at least Chris Rodriguez balled out against the Giants. So there's that. Going back to the 2022 draft, Jahan Dotson, gone. Fedarian Mathis playing well. Brian Robinson playing well. Percy Butler had a bad game against the Giants, but he's still here contributing and having good games occasionally. Sam Howell, gone. Cole Turner, gone. Chris Paul, inactive on game days, so he's here, but barely. Christian Holmes, gone. Go back to 2021. Jamin Davis, gone. Samuel Cosme, really good. Shouts out to Rivera for that one in the second round. Benjamin St-Juste, here, but a lot of people are ready for him to get cut as far as the Commanders fan base goes. For me, Benjamin St-Juste isn't bad enough to cut. He should just be your cornerback 3. I think he could be a solid cornerback 3, but you need to make a trade for a cornerback 1 like a Marshawn Lattimore or J.C. Horn. We're going to get there soon. De'Ami Brown, contributing. He has a niche for this team. Anything tunnel screen-wise, anything deep down the field. He's our best screen receiver. He's one of our better blocking receivers as well. He's carved a niche. Shouts out to that draft pick. John Bates, good pick there. Derek Forrest, inactive on game days, and if he does play, usually just special teams. Cameron Cheeseman, one of the worst draft picks of all time at long snapper. William Bradley King, not here. Shaka Toney, terrible draft pick, not here. Dax Milne, not here. Then going back to 2020, gets even worse. Chase Young, gone. Antonio Gibson with the Patriots, gone. Sadiq Charles, retired and gone. Antonio Gandy Golden, been retired, I believe, gone. Keith Ishmael, gone. Khalid Hudson, gone. Cameron Curl, gone. James Smith-Williams, gone. Every single pick of the 2020 draft is gone. And then it's only like a few, like 2 or 3 picks of any other draft is still here. Even as recently as 2023, we only have like 2 picks from that one. That is insane. That was just last year's draft, and Emmanuel Forbes leads that list as the first round pick, the most recent first round pick, and they're even trying to shop him right now. But it's not just Adam Peters that's sick of him, because also Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn don't like him as well. Take a look at this. So shouts out to Ben Standig for pointing this out from the Commander snaps versus the Giants of week 9. The running back room to make up for Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler played 29 of 62 snaps, Jeremy McNichols played 24, and Chris Rodriguez played 20. This is also the first game where the entire starting O-line played every single snap, because again, before Brandon Coleman against the Giants, just yesterday, started every single snap the entire game. Even in games that he did play, he split snaps with Cornelius Lucas. Even in the games that he did start, he split snaps with Cornelius Lucas, almost did evenly, but Cornelius Lucas is hurt right now. He got hurt against the Bears, and even though Brandon Coleman got hurt against the Panthers, had to miss the Bears game, he came in and started immediately for the Giants. So this is the first time our entire starting offensive line played every single snap. I mean, there was even a point in that game where Brandon Coleman's finger, Nick Allegretti had to pop his finger back into place, and he even talked about how queasy he was having to do it, and he hated doing it. He's never had to do something like that before, and Brandon Coleman still found a way to play every single snap in his first game ever being a full-time starter since he was drafted. Then also Jeremy Chin played 100% of the defensive snaps, first time since week 4, and then also he pointed out that the only non-quarterback without a single snap in that game was Emmanuel Forbes. That is crazy. That is insane. Even Michael Davis played 10 snaps. So Emmanuel Forbes was the only non-quarterback to not play a single snap in that game. That is absolutely insane. So that should tell you how much not only Adam Peters doesn't like Emmanuel Forbes, but even Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. I mean, Emmanuel Forbes has been a healthy scratch in a lot of games. That Ravens game, most notably, healthy scratch. Didn't play at all, even though he was fully healthy and good to go. Also, shouts out to Chad Ryan, because I completely agree. First of all, he said 2 immediate thoughts if this report is actually accurate and trustworthy. He said, number 1, we'd be selling low. Like I already said earlier, there's no way teams are going to give up much value in return for this guy, especially since we're letting him sit as healthy scratches. Like, we're not even trying to raise his trade stock at this point. We're not even trying to raise his trade value by at least throwing him out there to see if he can increase it himself. They're just like, man, he's just unplayable, and we're trying to win games. So if anybody's willing to give us anything for him, I guess we'll take it. And then also number 2, this essentially confirms we will will be buyers in the cornerback trade market. Good point. I mean, really, honestly, at this point, we'll take anything for Emmanuel Forbes, dog. If anybody's even possibly somehow willing to give us a 7th round pick for a 2023 first round pick, we'll take it, because at least that's some type of value in return, because it doesn't seem like we're going to get any value in return on the field. I thought he was improving a little bit, but then I forgot what game it was. Maybe it was the Panthers game. He showed that he was afraid to hit. It was either the Panthers or the Bears game. It was his turn to step up and like set the edge and make a run stop. He literally avoided trying to make the hit, and then he got benched immediately after that. I'm not sure if he's played since then. Like, I don't know if y'all remember that play. I can't remember if it was either the Panthers or the Bears game, but it was recent that the ball was ran his way. He looked so scared, like a deer in headlights, and didn't want to make a tackle at all. And that's not going to fly in a Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn led defense or team. So that's pretty much it for that. It's not even just the coverage skills, it's the lack of mentality. The same reason we traded away Jahan Dotson is the same reason they're trying to trade away Emmanuel Forbes. You're not a good culture mentality fit right now. Forget the physicals. Forget like how good you actually are in the field. We're talking about what you're willing to do, what type of attitude you play with. Jahan Dotson and Emmanuel Forbes don't have that. Jahan Dotson didn't want to block. Emmanuel Forbes doesn't want to step up in the run game. I know as a receiver, you want to go out there and just catch passes. I know as a cornerback, you just want to go out there and cover receivers. But on this team, we demand more of you. You need to play your role in every facet of the game of your position, even the ones that aren't typically asked of a lot of those guys at those respective positions. So it is what it is. It's time for him to go. At this point, man, I'll take a bag of Lay's for that boy, man. Honestly, man. I mean, if we can get anything to return, some pocket lint, that'd be cool, man. How about an old DJ Clue mixtape from like 2003? I'll even take that at this point, man. Whatever we can get in return, something. And so, going back to us showing signs of being buyers, first of all, I agree that we kind of even have to be. Like Chad Ryan said, this seems like that we should be, but I think we kind of have to be at this point. I mean, even if it's just for a lesser veteran that's not even like a true #1 corner like a Marshawn Lattimore or JC Horn, it has to be some type of veteran that we're looking at. Even if it's like we trade Emmanuel Forbes for a 7th and then we trade like a 6th or a 5th for a guy, even if again it's not Marshawn Lattimore or JC Horn, that level of player. Because if we do end up moving Emmanuel Forbes for whatever draft pick, or even on top of that, the fact that he's a healthy scratch going into games, then we're pretty much 4 deep at corner on the entire roster, and that's including Michael Davis, which leaves us with technically only 3 playable corners going into every game right now. So even if it is just a slight upgrade with, like, how about another Patriots corner that's not named Christian Gonzalez? How about like in Jonathan Jones, who's been pretty good this year, pretty solid. He has a higher Pro Football Focus grade than any corner that the Commanders have on roster right now. That would still be a positive move for us going into this playoff push that we're trying to make. And most importantly, he may be pretty cheap, like a 6th or 7th round pick. So you could, I mean, honestly, trade away Emmanuel Forbes for some pocket lint and then take a 7th round pick and get Jonathan Jones. That is an upgrade for your team right there, especially for this playoff push. And the Patriots are also probably aware that they will not be competitive in time for Jonathan Jones to contribute to a winning team in any way meaningful. Like, he's already 31 years old, and the Patriots are not ready to win anytime soon right now. So why not at least get a late round draft pick before he leaves in free agency for free, goes to another team anyway for free, or retires or whatever. You just never know. Might as well, from the Patriots point of view, get something in return. Just like we're fighting to get anything in return for Emmanuel Forbes, they may want to do that with Jonathan Jones. And of course, it's just insane, like just going back and just reminiscing on, man, what if this defense right here had Christian Gonzalez, how good we'd be right now. But we can't look at the past. We can't look at what could have been. We got to keep moving forward. So shouts out to Jordan Dejani of CBS Sports. He wrote an article saying the NFL trade deadline, the top players at each position and who could be dealt, including Budda Baker and Miles Sanders. Well, when he gets to cornerback, he said he has J.C. Horn #1, Greg Newsome #2, and Jonathan Jones #3. In his breakdown, he said, I truly don't know if Horn will be available via trade, but there would be significant interest if he was. The Panthers picked up the 5th-year option on his rookie contract, but Horn has played more than 6 games in a season just once in his career. That is insane. That's very injury prone, but he is from Atlanta, so I know I'm rooting for it already, but I'm biased. He also goes on to say that Newsome is another Brown who could be unloaded. Like Horn, he's scheduled to play on his 5th-year option in 2025, but J.C. Horn is definitely better than Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome is solid, but J.C. Horn is definitely a number 1 corner. Greg Newsome's more of like a number 2. So then at that point, we would just have to hope that Mike Sanford still develops into a number 1 corner. And I'm not sure if he's there yet or if he ever will be that, but who knows? And then he also goes on to say in 2023, that boy Newsome recorded a career-high 14 passes defensed. So, hey, he's getting better and better. We'll see. He also says that Jones is a veteran who has spent his entire career with the New England Patriots. He's in the final year of his contract and could be an asset to a contender. And diving deeper into the J.C. Horn situation, shouts out to Dean Jones of Rico's Rag. He wrote recently, this is a long shot and the Carolina Panthers will be reluctant to part ways with one of their very few elite playmakers, but the Washington Commanders should test the resolve with J.C. Horn. Adding the shutdown cornerback fits into Adam Peters' long-term vision and gives the team's short-term prospects an immediate shot in the arm as well. It's a best of both worlds. It's just a problem of, are the Patriots willing to trade him? And can this guy stay healthy to even be able to be available on the field for us? But continuing with what Dean Jones said, he said Horn's talent has never been an issue. He's capable of locking down one side of the field with minimal fuss. The fact that he stayed healthy this season only complicates matters more for the cash-strapped Panthers with a new contract on the immediate horizon for him. Washington has the draft resources and financial means to make Carolina a decent offer and pay Horn accordingly. So it would be a win-win for everybody, but he also goes on to say it's highly unlikely, but nothing ventured, nothing gained for a team riding a positive surge of epic proportions right now. I completely agree. Now moving on to edge rusher wise, there's an interesting update on the Zadarius Smith situation about going to the Lions. Remember during that live stream, during the Giants game, a lot of people were bringing up and they were disappointed that, oh man, it looks like Zadarius Smith is going to the Lions very soon. But hold up. Shouts out to sportingnews.com, Mike Moratis, I hope that's how you pronounce his name. He wrote an article saying rumors of the Lions' pursuit of Smith have been plentiful, and there have even been reports from Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, who hates the Commanders, that a trade between the Lions and Browns for the 32-year-old edge rusher was close and could happen Sunday or Monday. Unfortunately, this has not come to fruition yet. However, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler did give an update on the situation on Monday evening, saying that the two sides are talking. He added that the Browns are likely looking for a 4th round pick. Are y'all willing to give that up for Zadarius Smith? I'm not gonna lie, I probably am, but nobody is budged. All of the Lions are looming. Cleveland is waiting to see if any other teams get involved, so that might be what the holdup is for trade talks right now. Quote from Jeremy Reisman, Pride of Detroit, he said, from my understanding, the Browns have wanted an early day 3 pick, maybe a 4th round pick or so, Fowler reported. Nobody's budged on that yet, but the Detroit Lions are looming, unquote, from Jeremy Fowler. And also via Jeremy Reisman of Pride of Detroit. He also goes on to say, Jeremy Fowler, quote, the Lions and Browns have engaged in trade talks about a potential trade here. The Browns are waiting a little bit to see if somebody else comes into the picture and steals the spotlight here, but there are no major injuries that came from that Sunday slate of games at the pass rush position, so that honestly hurts Cleveland a little bit because they were hoping that teams may be a little bit more desperate out there to increase the market. Maybe they can get somebody to come in and try to outbid the Lions so the trade value can keep increasing as they try to outbid each other and fight for his services. But since there were no major injuries to any pass rushers, it looks like the Detroit Lions, if they want them, will probably be the last man standing. We'll see. But then you also have Bleacher Report that wrote an article saying the NFL Week 9 trade block big board before the 2024 trade deadline. And when they talked about Azeez Ojulari, they did a whole top 10 list, just to let you know. Going down the list, 10, Bryce Young at quarterback, 9, Tre'Davious White at corner, of course, 8, they have Sebastian Joseph Day, the defensive tackle from the Tennessee Titans. 7, Budda Baker, safety at Arizona Cardinals, even though they're winning games right now. They even beat the Miami Dolphins and the Chicago Bears, so they're probably not even in sale mode anymore like it seemed like they may have been just a few weeks ago. Then you have KJ Osborne, wide receiver of the New England Patriots. Then you have Zadarius Smith, the edge rusher from the Cleveland Browns, 5th. 4, Marshawn Lattimore, cornerback of the New Orleans Saints. I've already talked about him extensively in several videos, most notably the one 2 nights ago. Jonathan Jones, cornerback from the New England Patriots. I already talked about him briefly, but I talked about him in more detail in a video earlier today. And then you also have Chase Young, number 2, edge rusher from the Saints. But number 1 is Azeez Ojulari, edge from the New York Giants. And they say in that article, in that part of the article, the New York Giants have pulled off a couple of surprising wins this season, but they're highly unlikely to make a serious postseason push, especially especially after losing to us just recently. New York will continue rebuilding in 2025, possibly even without quarterback Daniel Jones. Selling off veterans now would make a ton of sense for New York, and pass rusher Azeez Ojulari remains a top trade candidate. The 24-year-old, who's only getting better, has fared extremely well during Kayvon Thibodeau's absence, but Thibodeau will be eligible to come off an injury reserve in week 10. Ojulari will be a free agent in the spring. The Lions could and should make a strong push for Ojulari before the trade deadline. He isn't on Hutchinson's level, but he provide an edge presence that opponents just can't simply ignore. I completely agree. Even taking away the Lions, I'm saying from the Commanders' point of view. I mean, first of all, now this guy was balling out the last few weeks. He didn't do it against us, but he did have 5 sacks in the last 3 games before the Giants played the Commanders yesterday. And we didn't allow any sacks to anybody at all. Dexter Lawrence, nobody. Remember, the Giants were the NFL's leading sack team coming into that game. We didn't allow any sacks. But Azeez Ojulari, especially with Kayvon Thibodeau hurt the last few weeks, he's been on a terror before he ran into our elite offensive line. But that shouldn't stop the Commanders from being interested. We shouldn't hold that against them. We stifled everybody against the Giants, again, even including Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns. And it's already been reported from multiple sources that the Giants are trying to shop him. They're calling around, trying to see what teams may be interested in trading for him and what they're willing to offer. And of course, he's a Georgia Bulldog and a Georgia Bulldog from Atlanta. So y'all already know I want to trade for him. Y'all already know where I stand. Plus, like I've already said, I feel like we need probably an upgrade for corner, of course, but I can make an argument that an improved pass rush and a deeper edge rush group could probably improve our coverage problem right now and help that even more than an actual trade for a specific corner could. You could argue that if our corners had to cover for less time and we had a more consistent pass rush, that could make a bigger difference for our secondary than actually trading for an actual secondary player. And Dante Fowler's been playing out of his mind, like I told y'all he would before the season even started. I gave y'all the heads up on Dante Fowler just watching the tape and what he did for the Dallas Cowboys defense last year. So I'm not as surprised a lot of other people are. But Dante Fowler's been playing well. Dorrance Armstrong working his way back from injury from the Ravens game. He's starting to play better and better. I think he was one of like the top 5 highest graded players, both offense and defense, from that win against the Giants. So even though he didn't record a sack, I don't believe, he had a really good game. The one sack he should have had, he hit Daniel Jones in the face. That ended up being a roughing the passer penalty. But apparently he had a really good game. I got to go back and watch the tape. But Pro Football Focus felt like he was one of the best players on the entire team against the Giants. And then Cleveland Farrell's working his way back, and he was the only guy that had sacks for us through the first 2 weeks, but he's still dealing with the injury. He'll be back. Javonte Jean-Baptiste, when he comes back off of IR, may be able to contribute. He started to show some flashes before he got hurt in that Ravens game and ended up on the injury reserve. But wouldn't it be nice to add another Dante Fowler to the mix? Why not, as far as that pass rush rotation that we have going on and how much that would improve? Because Dante Fowler balled out against the Giants, but you saw as our defense started to get tired as the game went on, our pass rush stifled a little bit. Imagine if we could have just thrown Azeez Ojulari out there, or throughout the game rotate between Dante Fowler and Azeez Ojulari and never give the Giants any breaks as far as a pass rush goes. And then Dorrance Armstrong on the other side. I think that would be a great addition for our defense. Again, of course, I would love Max Crosby, but I highly doubt we make that move. Even at corner, I would love Marshawn Lattimore or JC Horn. It's not looking extremely likely right now. So why not go ahead and trade like a 4th or 5th for Azeez Ojulari and then go trade like a 6th for Jonathan Jones? And I feel like that instantly makes our defense light years better. I know a lot of people are saying, what are we going to do about stopping the run? I feel like if we had an improved pass rush and an improved secondary, we had better coverage and everything like that, we would have to use less resources and dedicate less players to stopping the pass. And then that way we can add more players in the box to stop the run. And then we wouldn't have to worry about those guys on the back end. They would be able to handle it with less guys, and then we could contribute more guys to stopping the run. And that's how you would fix the run and the ability to stop the pass, by making us more efficient at stopping the pass and then adding more numbers to stop the run. I feel like we would be good to go. I'm telling you right now, I know it's not the most exciting trade deadline move set, trade package or whatever, but if we could trade some type of mid-round pick for Azeez Ojulari and a late-round pick for Jonathan Jones, I'm telling you right now, you'll see very soon that that was the right trade to make. Again, I prefer Marshawn Lattimore, JC Horn, and even Max Crosby at edge rusher, but I just doubt it's gonna happen. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in the video. Please still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Please let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Do you agree or disagree with any of my points? Let me know who you want as your like final wish list for the trade deadline. And I want to also not only know like all of the corners you want to trade for, all of the edge rushers, all of the receivers, or whatever other position groups you're thinking about, but I also want example trade packages. So by the end of the trade deadline, if we traded for this player and this player as a combination, you would be happy. Like again, for me, Azeez Ojulari from the Giants, an edge rusher, and Jonathan Jones corner from the Patriots. That's like a really good realistic trade package for me. Of course, not trade package as in we just it's like a 3-team trade and we walk away with both players. I'm just saying if by the end of the trade deadline tomorrow, as in Tuesday by 4 p.m., which group of players we can walk away with, because I don't want to hear like trade for Marshall Lattimore and JC Horn. I'm talking about a realistic scenario. What would be your favorite realistic scenario that the Commanders can end up coming away and walking away with by 4 p.m. tomorrow? Make sure you stay tuned. Please let me know in the comment section about all of that. I'm gonna try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible, and of course do not leave this video without leaving a like. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna try to catch y'all with another video maybe late tonight, early tomorrow morning. We'll see. Catch y'all later. I'm out.